Hiya, kids. Woo! Welcome to another episode of Bad Pop Song.
Yaha.
I am Bo.
Hi, Bo. I'm Dan.
Yes.
Hey, you should go check out badpopsong.com. And I'll tell you why. Because we got previous episodes there. We've got Bo singing his heart out. You should check those out. They're actually really good videos, too.
Well.
You and your cousin did a great job on all of them.
Well, J Soul is the videographer magic guy.
Awesome stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And also read up on some of your reviews of other films and musings therein.
Please.
It's good stuff. Badpopsong.com. Check it out.
Yes, please. And if you are watching via YouTube, please like and subscribe.
It makes my kitty happy.
Meow.
Isn't that right, Grayson?
Meow. There he is.
So anyways, what are we talking about today?
Well, we are talking about season 3 of Netflix's Heartstopper.
Oh.
Yes. Probably something you've been hearing me talk about endlessly for the last, 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, considering it's been on your phone several times as a wallpaper as well as a case.
Yeah, still is. Just wallpaper and a case that fits in with the third season. I tried to stay current. I tried to stay current.
I have cat.
Squeeze cat. So Heartstopper season 3.
Yes.
Just dropped yesterday.
All right. Hello, Grayson.
And
I'm sorry, the cat's going to upstage you.
I'm kind of ridiculous because everything drops on Netflix at 1 a.m. Pacific time, which is 3 a.m. Eastern, our time zone, my time zone, your time zone.
Yeah.
So of course I watched it at 3 a.m. and I binged it. So I watched all 8 episodes between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m.
Oh,
so and then I went to bed very early Friday morning. So.
You are insane for this show.
Oh, I'm obsessed. But I've been reading the webcomic for a couple of years now. So
that is based
it fuels the obsession because I'll read the webcomic to a certain point, and then the shows come out and I want to see how they compare to the webcomic,
What liberties do they take, et cetera, et cetera.
But also I'm just enamored with the actors on this show. They're so delightful. They're so charming. They bring the heart and soul of each one of these characters, or the heart and soul that they so beautifully have in the webcomic, So,
well, before we get too far into that, what is this show?
Well, Heartstopper is based on Alice Oseman's webcomic of the same name, originally a webcomic, and then she started putting them out as books. So if you're current with the webcomic, you don't necessarily need to read the books, but the books though are graphic novels. They're very nice to have.
It's a nice little thing to have. That way you have it after the internet has long since blown up.
Absolutely.
Or been eaten by Elon Musk.
I mean, it's nice to add to your collection of graphic novels or queer literature. And I will mention too, I think it's very, very relevant to this era, the struggles that the LGBT community are still facing. Of course, the Heartstopper graphic novels, of course, are victims of the book banning.
Of course.
So,
God forbid you show a different sexuality.
But also what's fun too is when you go to the bookstores that have they actually have a book burning display.
Yes, these books were banned.
Yeah, you'll definitely see Heartstopper in them, but you'll also in along with those, and then you'll also see Heartstopper in the with all the teen graphic novel type stuff. So
very relevant,
and very necessary because of how queerness and coming of age and how beneficial this is for young people.
Just to show different representations,
show representations, and to help young people with their identities, whatever, and especially those young people that are on the queer spectrum. This because the Heartstopper series touches on everything, that in the queer spectrum, not just being gay, but it deals with bisexuality and aromanticism and there's a lot to learn, and I think that's very helpful because, again, I think none of us fit in this in this square box. We all are very multidimensional.
It is a spectrum.
Yes. Well, there you go.
So this is a story of just some LGBTQ plus teens.
Yes, it is queer teens in the UK. Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and the boys attend Truham Boys School, where where they wear striped ties and blazers, and then the girls go to Higgs, and
Higgs,
and they also wear ties and blazers, but they're the guys wear blue, the girls are gray, and they're made to wear skirts. So so yeah, it is about the students of the Truham Higgs schools in the UK.
All right.
The featured characters on the show, main characters, are Nick Nelson and Charlie Spring.
Okay.
Charlie, going back to the first season, Charlie is an openly gay. He is in his 10th year. And being openly gay, he's also he's been bullied for it. And he is also kind of dealing with a toxic boyfriend. And then he meets the popular star rugby player who is in year 11, grade ahead of him, and that's Nick Nelson. And the two of them hit it off.
Of course.
And it all just kind of takes off from there. And we see all of Charlie's friends. You have Tao, his one of his best friends, Isaac, another one of his best friends, Isaac, who always has a book in his hand. And I think Heartstopper fans too are just, they're kind of obsessed with what Isaac is reading, because he's reading a different book in every scene.
He is the Oprah book club of this show,
and there's always pieces written about like every book Isaac reads in season whatever.
That is awesome.
So season 3 is no exception. Different book every scene.
That is hilarious and awesome.
Also, there is Elle. Elle attends the Higgs, the girls' school. Elle is a trans girl.
Okay.
And
just covering all the bases here.
Yeah, you have also at Higgs, you have Tara and Darcy, who are the lesbian couple. So and in the second and even more third season, you have characters that are added to their friend group. You have Imogen, who initially had a crush on Nick in the first season, but as the second season and now even the third season, her identity is even progressing even more, and she's also now like a big part of their friend group, as far as well as Sahar. Sahar, it also introduced in second season, and Sahar, she's friends with Imogen. They've been friends since they were little, and Sahar is a musician, plays in a band.
Hey.
So it's so you get to see her perform. She performs at their prom in the end of the second season.
Aww.
And of course she performs along with Charlie in the third season. Charlie is a drummer. So I don't know. So I think I've given a little bit about each of the featured characters. There's Tori. Tori is Charlie's older sister.
Okay.
And Tori's very deadpan, and she loves Charlie and she cares about Charlie, and she's always looking out for him. But I think she's what's awesome about Tori is that she's just too cool for everybody, and like all of his friends annoy her and that sort of thing. Typical,
older sister thing,
sort of dynamic. But Tori is such a great character, and Tori's always sipping something. Tori, you always hear the slurp, and that's another thing the Heartstopper fans are saying. What is she drinking? What is Tori drinking in this scene? Because she's drinking something in every scene. And,
man.
And I think they've even asked Jenny Walser, the girl that plays her, the actor that plays her, in interviews, it's like, yeah, what was Tori drinking in those scenes?
Probably just water.
And yeah, sometimes she said that, or she'll name a specific drink, or sometimes she'll just be like, I don't know, I don't remember. But
that is fabulous. I mean, it sounds like you absolutely adore these kids.
I do adore them. I do, and I like the actors, and they're very good actors. They put again, they capture the big heartedness and the sincerity and the genuineness of these characters, and their own process of finding themselves, and their identity and where they all fit in, and things like that, and each one of the characters like specific skills and what they have to offer the world. So
it's not just all about the relationships; it's about them as growing people, and
it is about them as
they're building up to their future.
It is about the each of them individually and their own sort of individual struggles, and what they're trying to obtain. For instance, like Isaac, in the friend group, Isaac is the aromantic, is the asexual, and how he discovered that about himself in the second season. When he was trying to he kissed a boy for the first time and didn't really feel anything.
Right.
Yeah, and came to the realization it's not that it's not him. I'm just not attracted or anything. I'm not attracted to anybody. I'm not, I don't. So it's, and you see him also to read a lot of, since he's always reading something different. In the second season, especially, you see him reading a lot about queer identity and books on
trying to figure himself out. Yeah.
Right. And books on aromanticism and things like that. So that's what I mean by just character development and finding themselves.
So this is strictly just slice of life. It's not trying to be soap opera-y, people hooking up with each other and cheating on each other and stuff like that. It's just trying to be wholesome, right?
You know what? It is wholesome. It is. There's something feel good about it. Although there are some very serious topics in it. There's some, there with especially in the first season. You're dealing with bullying and some like toxic behavior and things like that. And there's always something a little heavy. In each of the seasons. The third season actually is just loaded with. It's pretty intense. There's it's a lot of mental health sort of type things, and they're all sleeping with each other in the third season too. Like all the couples,
the couples have hooked up. They're not like
no, not like the soap opera thing that we're talking about. So yeah, no, it's not soap opera at all. It's more coming of age and feel good. And one of the things that I've always liked about Heartstopper is that it's just very optimistic. The webcomic itself is and the graphic novels, the way they're presented are it's very optimistic. And
this is a term that I've learned. It's hope punk.
Oh, okay. Hope. Yes, elaborate a little.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe even hope core, depending on what verb you want or whatever you want to stick to it. The idea is that it is just relentlessly optimistic. That it's not necessarily beating down the characters and destroying them and then building them back up. It is just starting them from rock bottom and building them up, and you just have that sense of optimism, like you said, and just sorry, my cat's making a performance. Yeah, but it's just that sense of hope that things are going to be okay, and then it giving you a good escapism from the horrors of real life by watching these and seeing these characters and just going, they're living their dreams. That's the response to it. It's just
Heartstopper is a lot of that.
Yeah,
absolutely, and especially in the show. In the show's use of like sort of pastels and the sets and everything is very bright.
Yeah,
very, very colorful, and I like what you were talking about, how like there's their rock bottom, but then everything is up. Everything goes up from there.
Yeah,
that's kind of like what Heartstopper is about. And at the same time, it's still okay. I'll start off by saying like queer content. I've been reading queer content for many, many years.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of it, especially in films, and on television, the representation has either been like very grossly stereotypical, or it's just a lot of pain and struggle and being ostracized and being rejected, and just a lot of self-loathing, because that is what society.
It's painting it as a horrible experience and just painful. Yeah,
and that is true for a lot. There is a lot of, unfortunately, there is a lot of that in queer stories and queer people's experience. But
this is the it gets better of queer.
Yeah, absolutely. Media. It is. And the beauty of Heartstopper, particularly the series, is that it shows some of those same struggles, but there's it's not in and it doesn't dwell on it, and it somehow quickly resolves itself.
It doesn't become their defining feature.
Yes.
It's showing that there's more to these people than just this one instance,
right? And it shows that they can come out of it, and also
that's the whole point.
And then they're whoever they're having struggles with, and because it also, you're sort of someone else one of the recurring supporting characters, whether it be a parent or a teacher, they themselves have their own realizations about certain things and things like that. There are two teachers on the show who both teach at Truum, Mr. Jahi and Mr. Farouk, and they develop a romance,
Interesting.
in the second season.
Give a little something for the adults in the room. Yeah.
Yes, when they all go to Paris and things like that. And that, well, you said, something for adults, you said. I think this show is for everybody. I really think it's not, it is for young people. And I think it will help young people sort of, if they're having, if they're having some kind of identity struggle, I think
trying to find themselves.
I think Heartstopper is something to help them, sort of to guide them along. But I also think it's for Gen Xers like me who had different experiences and I don't want to say more negative, but you can definitely say that things were probably a little harder for me. I wasn't even out as a teenager. You know? So to watch this now, I think it's very inspiring. I really do, and I think
the kids are all right.
It gives me an optimistic view of where, although there's such a long way to go, but like as far as how queerness is represented in media, I think it gives me a lot of hope, and inspiration. So, oh my gosh.
So that's the show in general.
What
happens, interestingly, that you can share with this season? What happens to our kids?
Well, I gotta say, I probably should have said this in the beginning because I've already kind of been spoiling it. If you haven't been watching Heartstopper in his previous seasons, but just a heads up, you might want to turn this off if you still haven't watched the third season yet, because I'm just going to spoil the whole thing.
Okay. It's all readily available if you have Netflix, so might as well go ahead and watch it,
Well, we've come a long way. The year 11 has ended for Nick and Tara and Darcy and Imogen and Sahar and those characters, and then year 10 has ended for Charlie and Isaac and Hal.
So each season is about a semester?
Yes. Yeah. Each season is about a semester, although third season I think is like an entire school year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. 1 and 2 is broken up into like 2 semesters, but season 3 is just like an entire school year. Yeah. Ooh. So but yeah, the season 3 starts off, they're all on summer break, and the crew is all they're all having
they're all hanging out.
They're all hanging out at the beach,
being kids
and doing cute things. And I think the beauty of season 3 is seeing them all together, because they were a much smaller group in season 1, and they grew a little more in season 2, but then like these relationships were still kind of building, and they were getting to know each other as far as, in the Fen group. And like third season, like they're all best friends, and it's just like they're a big crew, and they're doing things together. Although they, the couples are spending an awful lot of time just doing couple things, which,
as you do,
which I think leaves Isaac feeling a little left out. He definitely feels left out because, he's not in a relationship, due to his being asexual and things like that. But also he just feels ignored by all his friends, and he, as he said in kind of humorously and sarcastically in one of his lines in the third season. He says, "This lot's been third wheeling me," So he's like, because James, he had a potential love interest in the second season with James, but and then he came to his realization, and then James sort of understood that. So he and James are friends, and James like, oh, they all make me want to be in a relationship, and I was just like, no, don't. He's like, this lot's been third wheeling me all summer long, So it's like, so yeah, it's just, and James and Isaac too. They're the ones in the library in charge of the book displays, and they always have like this cool book, a queer book display, and everything. So it's just, so yeah, that's how season 3 begins. It focuses a lot on the particularly, I always feel like Tara and Darcy were already getting it on, and they just weren't really talking about it. But I always feel like Tara and Darcy were pretty well established and far along in their relationship, even in the first season. You know? But
pretty well committed.
Yeah, pretty well committed. Although you see Darcy in this season, she learns more about herself. She seems to be. She has a particular identity in the first and second season, but then the third season, as it's progressing, I think she's learning more about
who she
that she actually changes her pronouns to they, and she cuts her hair and
being a little bit more gender fluid.
Yes, she I think she is starting to feel a little more gender fluid. So you see that sort of arc with her in season 3. So season 3 is loaded. Like, it's just really loaded. It's like, as far as the graphic novels, the first and the second season, the first season was pretty much based on the first 2 books. And then the second season was books 2, 3, and 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just skipped over 4.
No. What did I say?
2, 3, and 5.
Oh,
that's why I gave you a look.
I didn't mean to do that.
3, 4, and 5.
You know what? I'm even forgetting now. I think I definitely know the first season is maybe even just the first book, and then I think. Oh yes, and I think the second season are books 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
Yes, and then the third season is book 5, which was recently released, almost a year ago in December.
Oh my gosh, they're catching up. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, she is.
She needs to write faster.
Well, she just dropped the next segment and it's the final segment of her webcomic. So I just started reading that.
So there's maybe 1 season left.
And that comes out every 3 months. That comes out 3 times a month, the webcomic. I think that'll be turned into a book. And that's it. She's done. Yeah. She's doing this final segment of the webcomic. And then she'll write another book, and I think, of course, there'll be one last season. So we'll see. I'm
wrap everything up.
I'm just thrilled to be able to sort of be caught up on both ends, with the webcomic and the series. So. Which is why I was so crazy and binged it from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. because
you're nuts.
Well, I knew, having read the webcomic, I knew everything that was going to happen. I was like, how long do I have to wait to see how this is represented, on the screen? It's like, and so for the most part, it is pretty faithful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other plot lines do you want to dish about that might intrigue somebody to watch?
Charlie and Nick, Tao and Elle, they start having sex. Yeah. And Tao and Elle too, since Elle is trans, I think she's in when they start, when they start kind of fooling around, she kind of backs away because, being trans, she has like body dysphoria and things like that. So that initially is a little stressful for her, but then Tao is very understanding about it, and and he of course he says to her, he goes, I mean, I never really think about you being trans, and the thing, and then he goes, I just want to do whatever you want to do. So, but they both sort of figure out, they both sort of discuss as they're with their friends, they just and then when they start doing it regularly, they're just sort of discussing with their friends that, like, it, especially more with Charlie, because Charlie and Nick want to start having sex, but see, and so Tal's trying to explain, it's like, yeah, it's like a learning experience. It's different, Elle and I have been, it's not always perfect, it's just, we figure out what each other likes, but then there's this whole thing though with Charlie, and there's this whole thing on his mental illness in this season, which is, he has anorexia, and Nick sort of wanting to save him, and learning, and there's this really great scene, and here's why I want to talk about Olivia Colman, since I love Olivia Colman so much. Olivia Colman played Nick's mom in the first and second season. I mean, even in the first season, like, Olivia Colman was like a household name. She had an Oscar at that point, Yep. But I think she's, since, during and since the second season, she's become even bigger. I think her career is like in the stratosphere. Like, she's just so she couldn't even return for season 3.
Oh no,
she's so busy. And there's this great scene in the webcomic where the family goes to Menorca, Nick and his mom, and they spend time, and then they're with his aunt, his uncle, and his little cousins. And then he's on the phone with Charlie, and like, we're learning how Charlie is just like, he's really depressed, and he's really in a dark place, and he's coming to terms with, like, that he has anorexia, and Nick doesn't know how to help him. And so his mother, and it's just this great scene in Menorca in the webcomic, and his mother's pretty much telling him, it's like, you know what, I know you love him, but you can't do this on your own. He needs professionals. He needs, he needs
people who know what they're doing.
He needs eating disorder type professionals, and mental health professionals, and so I think that was going to be a challenge for the writer Alice Oseman, because she also does the show. So but I think she already figured it out. I think she pulled someone from the Marvel universe, Haley Atwell, and Haley Atwell is Aunt Diane. And Aunt Diane and Uncle Rich and take Nick in the show to Menorca. And so when he's having this conversation that he has in the webcomic with Charlie, instead of his mom explaining all this to him, Aunt Diane is explaining to him. And I think it's a really good way of doing it too.
Yeah.
And I think we all love Haley Atwell. I mean, she just has that sort of presence that's, I mean, if you love her in the in the Marvel universe and Captain America and she's just a delight, so to see her as Aunt Diane, just a loving, nurturing, aunt, and I love that, because I've always had loving, nurturing aunts, who've given me advice and things like that. So I thought that was really well done. I think that changed, but it's interesting though, because the scenes where just Nick is in the house, like, Olivia Colman's not there, but like, you just assume that his mom's there, but like
Yeah.
Olivia Colman's not in the show, so it's like Nick just lives there by himself.
Oh, jeez.
He just lives there on his own. So in that regard, that's
They could have at least had her like record a line off camera or something, you know. It's like, Mom, I'm home.
there are some scenes. There are scenes where like Charlie and Nick are together in his room, and then like you hear door slams, you hear a door close, and you hear, somebody walking up steps. It's like, oh my gosh, your mom home? He's like, yeah, that's my mom. I mean, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's just weird. It still feels like he just lives there on his own.
Yeah. With ghosts.
Yeah, like 16, 17-year-old just lives there by himself. I think another thing that's really great about, not only do they they show Charlie's experience, he is receiving treatment, he's in a hospital for a couple of months, and his friends, Tao, makes a documentary of all of them and just what they've been doing, without Charlie, and what their friends group has been like without Charlie, and and they're all just talking about how I mean, they're all still doing their stuff. They're doing their homework, Elle's doing her art, and there's a big Halloween party and things like that, and they all comment, but they all are just talking about how we miss you, Charlie, we love you, it's not the same without you, that kind of thing. And that's such a great scene. The little film that he made, it was really like, it was so cry worthy. Like, I just I cried through the whole like video for Charlie. And they showed it in two different perspectives. Like, they first showed it in Nick's perspective, like everything he was going through without Charlie. And then it showed Charlie's perspective and what he was going through in his therapy and talking with his therapist and that sort of thing. So
interesting. So you say this season dealt with like the entire school year.
Yeah, this was an entire school year.
So did some of the characters graduate, move on to university?
Well, Nick, Imogen, Elle, and Tara all go on a university tour.
Okay.
And Nick drives them. And they're going to like Oxford and Kent and these sorts of places. And of course, Oxford's a little too stuffy for all of them.
Of course.
And Tara is probably Tara and Charlie are probably like the most academically excelling of all of them. And because because Tara's like a prefect, and she got all 9s on her GCSEs and that sort of thing. all those British terms.
Yeah, things I know nothing about.
But she's feeling the pressures, and I guess initially she thought she wanted to go to Oxford, and they all went there, and she's like, no, I don't want to go to Oxford.
I don't like these people.
Right. And then Nick just wants to like go to Kent and stay close to Charlie. And he has this discussion with them all in the car. He's like, I don't really know what because they go a few hours to Leeds, and Leeds has everything he wants. Like, Leeds has a rugby team, so he can go on to Leeds and play rugby and stuff like that. But he's really afraid to be like to do the long distance thing with Charlie.
Yeah.
And of course, Elle's trying to explain to him. She goes, he needs to hear this. This is really, I know this is tough to hear, but he needs to hear it. She goes, I'm dealing with the same thing with Tao, because she left. She's doing her 6th form in her last part of high school or whatever. She's doing it at an art school, so she's not even part of the Truman Higgs thing anymore. So she's like, I've already been dealing with this, and she said, you're gonna have to figure this out too,
Yep.
And Nick sort of explains, it's not just Charlie, it's me. And it was really sweet. He says, I don't know what my life is without Charlie. And it's just because he's young, and it's I think Charlie was the person that helped him discover that he was bisexual, so, which sort of, I don't know, it kind of fits in with with Olivia Colman playing his mother not being on the show. I think that sort of makes him like him living, like seemingly living alone in that house. I think it just sort of fits in with what he said. It was like, I don't have much going on without Charlie, you know? And, you know, so at the end of book 5 and at the end of the last segment of the webcomic, you know, I think he really decides he wants to go to Leeds. And, I think he eventually tells Charlie, but he doesn't tell Charlie on the show. He just, he doesn't, So, but, you know, but I think that'll help kind of spice up for a season 4, maybe. But,
quite possibly the last season.
But yeah, they did the Nick, Al, Tara, and Imogen did their uni tour. And and then Nick and Sahar played the Churum Summer Fete thing, and they got to perform, and you know, they were almost late. They were a little late coming back from the uni tour because of traffic and stuff like that, and the way that was like portrayed in the webcomic was so cute because they were all like yelling at Nick. It was like, hurry up! He's like, I'm going as fast as I can, you know. It's just So, yeah. Season 3 is just, again, it's just it is a little heavier. Each season gets a little heavier.
Yeah. And it sounds like the next season will be interesting because, you know, everybody will be in different places, so they have to deal with that.
But I was sort of initially talking about like the couples having sex. Okay, well then there's like I brought up like Charlie's mental health thing. You know, he, along with his anorexia, he was kind of self-harming.
Oh no.
So he's self-conscious about his body because, you know, he's afraid that like if Nick sees him without a shirt or anything, he'll be disgusted by, like, you know, just a little his little scarring that he has or whatever. And, you know, because he's a lean guy and Nick is just like this kind of hulking sort of you know, athletic looking person.
Rugby players tend to be very stocky. Yes.
So yeah, he definitely has that. But eventually, at the end of the series, and they do this really well in the webcomic, and the way it got transferred onto screen, it was done really well. But like Charlie, the day of the band performance, you know, he goes to his closet and he looks in the mirror. He's looking at himself with his shirt off, and he gets kind of discouraged and all the darkness kind of surrounds him. So he just ends up putting on like a sweater or long sleeves or something that covers up his arms. And then the day of the show, the day of the performance, he picks the short sleeve t-shirt.
Nice.
So, you know,
he's making progress.
He's making progress. I mean, you know, he spent, you know, he sees his therapist every week, and he was in, you know, he was in the hospital for couple months, so he's had time to get better.
Awesome.
And but like even before that, like even the episode prior, he and Nick started doing it, but then he would always keep, like Charlie would always keep his shirt on.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the last episode, he tells Nick to take his shirt off.
Hey.
He's like, he helps Nick take his shirt off, and Nick's about to like pull him into bed, and then Charlie's like, aren't you gonna help me take my shirt off? And you're like, oh. And at the same time too, I'm like watching this, like I'm watching, you know, like these are my nibblings or something, and I'm just like, oh no, they're not supposed to be, you know. But at the same time, I'm also just like, oh, you know, it's
like kids are growing up,
right? Oh, they're just babies, you know, even though they're not. But it's just, I don't know. So yeah, you know, there you go. I basically spoiled all of season 3.
Well, there's still plenty more to enjoy there.
No, I mean,
I'm sure
it's an experience. You just sort of have to watch it.
Yeah.
It's vastly different from the, you know, I mean, the formula is still there, but it's the storylines are a little heavier and a little more intense and things like that.
As you do.
Yeah. So there we
I
go.
still find it hilarious that you sort of see them as your kids.
I find all young people inspiring. I look at my own nibblings. You know, I look at my brother's kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm inspired by them. You know, because the three of them have their own. You know, even the younger one. You know, even the 8th grader. You know, has a very strong sense of identity, at least as at least what he likes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the kind of music he likes, and just
Mm-hmm.
and you know, he does so well in school, and then of course there's Vincent, and then his whole King of Broadway thing. I mean, he's just you know, just studying theater arts at NKU, and then you know, and then my you know, the oldest one, you know, who just graduated college, who's going off to law school pretty soon, and you know, she's
wacky overachievers,
and she's
I swear.
and you know, and she's queer, and I'm I don't know, I'm just so proud of her, you know. It's I just remember holding her in my arms the first day, you know, the day she was born, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and now, you know, it's inspiring. I find young people inspiring, especially the young people close to me. And then, you know, then there's my nibblings too. I'm like my cousin's kids, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about them, and some of them are queer, and one of them is trans, and they all too have very flourishing identities and very flourishing lives, and ideals, and things that they're accomplishing at such a young age. And it's breathtaking. It's inspiring. Yeah. And it inspires me. It inspires it inspires myself.
Makes you want to try harder.
Well, not so much. It just makes me feel hopeful and optimistic about everything, but particularly my own life. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's okay. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not dead yet, you know.
It makes you realize there's more you can do to help this world, or to more to bring to it.
Absolutely. And so
this is a TV show, so it's really hard to ask you about the film festival.
Okay, I'll speak about TIFF.
Yeah,
TIFF shows television shows.
Okay, they usually do like the first 2 episodes.
They'll drop about 3 episodes.
Okay,
yeah.
So then the question is valid. You're going to show the first 3 episodes of this. I know you're going to show it. So when are you going to show it?
This would be in my late afternoon, early evening queer content.
Yes.
I will. This will be part of that curated piece of programming.
There needs to be discussion.
Yes.
Following this.
Yeah, I will show. Honestly, I don't know how many episodes I'd show of this.
Heck, show the entire series for the entire 24 hours.
I just might, and have but
have a little talk between each episode.
Yeah, but yeah, I would maybe this would even be. I think Heartstopper is worthy enough as far as what anything I might curate for queer content in a film festival. I think Heartstopper would even be the bar burner, the end of it. Like, I think, I could show like a series of shorts and then just show a bunch of Heartstopper, instead of like a feature, just show a few hours of this. I mean, yeah, you can watch up 8 episodes in 4 hours. So,
No, short episodes.
Yeah. That's what I did. So.
I'm just thinking back to like my experiences with anime conventions where they would just choose a series and just show the entire thing in one room. So I would imagine it's kind of like you could do something kind of like that.
Right. Yeah. You miss doing that?
Not really. I mean, I miss seeing the other artists and hobnobbing with them, because it's very rare that you have somebody who's that close to your profession to share things with. You know, it's hard to do, especially when you're just on the internet all the time, because there's not that much connection going on that way. But I don't necessarily miss the long days at the artist alley trying to hawk my wares, and people trying to be shady about you know, oh, I'll give you half price for that. And it's like, just pay me what I'm worth, please.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And also, I'm terrible at salesmanship. I'm terrible at marketing. And that's basically what all those were.
You and I have never been good at whoring ourselves.
No. And that's when you need that partner who is able to do that for you. You know, two of my friends, Richard and Shannon Townsend, they what was the name of their series? I've totally forgotten them. But yeah, so they had a webcomic that they produced together. But you know, they took turns being more marketing, and you know, the whoever was feeling more extroverted at the time would just take the forefront, and the other one would recharge, and they would swap off that way. So it actually helps to have somebody who's a little bit more extroverted to help you out with these sorts of things. But so many web artists, especially, are introverted. It's very hard.
Yeah. I always feel like your anime years and my full-time gigging years, I kind of feel like you and I are in the same boat. Like, these are things we used to do so regularly, but like we don't necessarily miss doing it anymore.
You're right.
Because it was so stressful.
It is so much work
for both of us.
It just leaves you so drained afterwards.
It was a lot of work. It leaves you drained, and it just felt like we got so little in return, you know? And, but, you know, but I feel like, I feel like we've still evolved, you know, we've just evolved into just completely different things. You know, you've got your stuff with D, and clearly stuff.
You're writing books now.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And then, you know, the stuff that, which is, again, the queer content.
Yeah.
What was that term you used at the beginning?
Hope punk? Or
yeah, that's what you read. Isn't that kind of hope punk?
More or less, yeah. We're doing romantic comedies.
Yeah, yours are more. It's weird. I shame on me. I feel like I've only read the baking series.
Well, we only have one book out right now of that, so we're still working on the second one.
I love that because I don't know that, like, I don't remember there being sort of like it beginning like a rock bottom kind of thing going. No. Yeah, like
they both had their problems and their hardships, but the process of them falling in love and coming together was the thing that fixed them.
Yeah, that's what I find beautiful about that. And if you don't mind me saying, I don't know how D feels about. I don't know if I want to even. I can't think of a better term than to like call it selling out, but like, you guys need to figure out a way to sell this shit on to Netflix or something. That's what everybody watches. They watch all these romantic comedies with the same kind of formula. I think you guys could make a killing, and you know what? I feel like I could. You know, it's just a way for me to continue to ride your coattails.
I'm still looking for somebody to ride the coattails of. Come on, man.
I know. You've been trying to ride my coattails since my musician years, and that really didn't get you too far, did it?
It gave me I had some really cool shows that I went to and designed some really nifty posters.
You know what? I was going through I thought I had lost a few well, more than a few. I thought I lost like about 3 years worth of pictures.
Oh no!
On my iPhone.
No.
They're all on Facebook. So thank God I like I haven't deactivated my Facebook or anything like that.
Not yet.
Because I found some of those great posters you made for me, and it's
those were always fun times.
Oh yeah, they were
just giving us a little time to be creative,
totally fantastic,
steal images.
But back to Heartstopper.
Yes,
I want to bring up my husband. I blame my husband for Heartstopper, who it's ironically he's far less into it now than he was when he started.
Uh-huh.
Do you
think it's because you've been so far into it?
When the first season started in March or April of 2022, he was watching it first, and he didn't really mention anything to me about it. And then I showed up in the room and around like episode 3 of the first season. I'm like, oh, what's this? And he's like, yeah, it's like queer. He's like, this. It's about like queer teens in the UK. It's about these boys who like each other. And I'm like, sounds really corny. I don't know. Like, all right. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching him with it, and then I am just getting totally engrossed. And then I start reading the webcomic after the season ended. And he started noticing how obsessed I was, and like how I was actually waiting like the 3 times a month that a new strip drops in the webcomic, and I'd just be sitting there in bed and the light's on. He's trying to go to sleep, and he's seeing me, the light on my phone, reading this week's strip. I tried to get him to binge watch the second season with me. He couldn't do it. He's not much of a binge watcher. That's hard. Even as short as even a 4-hour, like you can do it in 4 hours. That's still really tough for him.
Yeah, he has issues with attention span.
So I basically just I mean, there are definitely things we just watch together. Doctor Who, the Disney Plus stuff. Right now it's Agatha All Along, which by the way stars Joe Locke, who is who plays Charlie in Heartstopper.
Hey, there you go.
But anyway, he does a great American accent, by the way, and Joe Locke is also he also on Broadway played the kid in Sweeney Todd.
Hey,
yeah. So I would have loved to have heard him sing that "Not While I'm Around," song. So anyway, yeah, I couldn't get him to watch. I couldn't get him to binge the second season with me. So after about the 3rd episode, he's like, "I need to take a break." I was like, "Well, would you be offended if I just finished it?" And he was like, "By all means." So it was no surprise to him that he got up in the middle of the night. In fact, he may have already, I think it was just his early day when he go into the office when he has to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning, and he comes down and he sees me watching it. I was like, yeah, I just waited till 3 a.m. when it dropped, and he says, this will be finished by the time you start work. No, this was his work. He was, his work from, this was his regular work from home day. So I was like, yeah, so this will be over by the time you start work. So I finished it and sat and emailed my girlfriend about how fun it was, and then I was like, I'm going to bed.
Have fun at work. Will you watch the episodes again with him?
I watched the first 3 episodes with him again.
Okay.
And
just going at his pace.
I've left him to his own devices tonight. He needs a little break from me from time to time. So
you are a bit much,
Yes,
I kid.
Well, that's why I gave you a month off or a whole entire summer away from me.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, jeez.
So yeah, he's left to his own devices tonight. We're caught up with everything that we watched together, so he gets to watch and eat whatever he wants.
Hey,
so
that works out.
I said, try to get in another episode of Heartstopper if you can. So I don't know how enthused he will be about that, because again, I think his enthusiasm, I think my over enthusiasm of the show kind of killed his enthusiasm.
Okay. It's like, it's popular now. I can't watch it.
It is extremely popular. I will say that. But oh my gosh, we have gone on for about an hour, and I feel like I've said probably more than I've needed to say about Heartstopper season 3.
Is it one of your favorite series ever?
It is. Oh my goodness, it is. It is. I would definitely rank it up there as it is in my. If I had a top 10, I never really thought about it, but if I had a top 10,
it would easily be in there.
It would easily be in there. I wouldn't say number 1, but it would probably. It'll. Yeah, somewhere between 10 and 1.
Something for you to think about while you're having insomnia or something. Like, where would I rank it in my TV shows?
Perhaps.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I think we've taken care of that. Go check it out now on Netflix. All 3 seasons are up there now, right?
Yes.
Okay. They haven't gotten rid of any of them.
Oh no, I think fans would
riot,
would start burning the streets,
flipping cars,
yeah,
and storming the Netflix offices.
This is a wildly popular show, and what it's done for the careers of Kit Connor and Joe Locke and William Gow and Yasmin Finney, Toby Donovan, Corinne Brown, Kizzy Edgell, Rhea Norwood. I mean, Rhea Norwood is, she was just recently Sally Bowles in Cabaret in the UK.
Wow.
At the famous Kit Kat Club performances. So, I mean, that's a huge thing. I mean, Joe Locke was just on Broadway. He's now on Agatha All Along.
Mm-hmm.
Kit Connor is currently on Broadway doing Romeo and Juliet.
Hey.
So I'm telling you what it has. And Kit Connor had a pretty up and coming film career anyway. I mean, Wild Robot is out right now,
and he's also getting rave reviews.
He is, yes, getting rave reviews. He's also one of the voice actors in that. He's along with Lupita Nyong'o, and again, he was young Elton John in Rocket Man. And there are 2 or 3 films that he is in that are coming out within the next year. So again, what this show has done for the careers of these kids,
you're going to be following them for the rest of your life.
Joe Locke, this is I don't think Joe Locke had ever acted in anything before.
Really?
Heartstopper. He just really, I think he fit the part of Charlie really well because it's got that, although Charlie in the webcomic, his hair is much more wispy and layered, where Joe Locke's is just kind of kinky and curly and a little more, slightly more tame. But I don't know, the wavy dark hair and sort of slender boy, I think that the demureness of Charlie,
it fit the personality that they
wanted. I think they just looked at him and it's like, oh my god, that's Charlie.
Hey, that's our guy.
Yeah. But and Yasmin Finney has, she appeared in those last Christmas those Christmas episodes that those holiday episodes they always show of Doctor Who before the new season kicks in.
Yes.
And I have a feeling she's going to have more. She's going to be more involved in that as that progresses. So, and she even made some appearances in the latest season of Doctor Who as well. So, I mean, these kids are everywhere now. So,
you're so proud of
them. They're young adults, but I just
anybody younger than you as a kid.
Don't I know it? I mean, I still sometimes look at you and see you as a kid,
yeah.
Even though you're just a mere 5 years my younger.
It's all relative, When you're younger, it's a huge distance, but then you get older and it gets a smaller distance.
There are pictures of you in those Facebook pictures that I thought I had lost on my phone.
Yeah.
Wow. You used to not have a beard and hair full of gray hair.
Oh yeah. Man. My poor follicles.
Anyway, I have talked way too much.
Let's wrap up this show.
I'm tired of talking.
Yeah. So hopefully everybody will go check out this wonderful series.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, thank you.
Oh, read the books too. read the books, read the webcomic. If you read the webcomic, whether it be Tumblr or however you read your webcomics, it is very easily accessible. And you can go back and go all the way back and read it from the very, very beginning. But yes, there are 5 books out. And I mean, read the books. I mean, they're great. At least you'll have books to put on your bookshelf and you know, to read, put on your coffee table and for others, you know, to share with everybody. They're great. The web comic, the graphic novels, they're great.
Primo.
Great queer, and the show, all of it. It's just great queer content. So yeah, I'm Bo.
I haven't read anything.
Oh yeah, you haven't. Have you not?
No,
yeah,
I need to thank you.
Yes,
for watching this episode of Bad Pop Song. Be sure to check out the website badpopsong.com for the latest episodes. Links to the songs, films, whatever we discuss. No webcomics up there though, but what can you do? Tune in next time when Bo continues to take us on this wondrous magic carpet ride of filmdom, TV shows, and musical cringe.
Yes, we'll get back to the music very soon.
Oh yeah, I can tell you have something brewing. Stay tuned for that. Until then, I'm Dan.
I'm Bo.
Have fun.
Stay groovy.